Everyone, to the live Beacon of Light podcast this evening. We are so excited to have with our guest this evening, Michelle Mras. And so we've got many things planned for you. Some of you saw the post that I put up there where it says, "You suck." So I think that got some attention, especially on my emails. They were like, I've never seen something like that from you. Like, well, you got to come tonight and figure out what this means, because we've all had negative voices within us, and we want to talk tonight about how to overcome all of this. But before we do, please share with us where you're from. We've got, we have Helene. Hello, Miss Wilson. Hello. Come on in. And we're going to start this off with a little bit of a quick video, and then we're jumping in. Ready? Here we go. Oops, wrong word. Look at me. I'm going again.
I'm April Tribe Juke. Welcome to the Beacon of Light podcast. I believe we are all made with light, and light is hope. This podcast brings authors who write stories of hope to all of you. Your journey to be inspired and amplified by these stories starts now.
All right, it starts now. We are up live. So this evening, I am in Twin Falls, Idaho. That's where I'm broadcasting from tonight. And Michelle, where are you broadcasting from?
Basically, Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, right? Did we get it? Okay, we got it. Awesome. Well done. So you can see running on the ticker tonight, her book is amazing. It's Not Luck, Overcoming You. So let's start right there with that title, Michelle. Where did that all come about? Check it out. She's holding it up there nice and strong. Love it.
Where did this title come from?
Yeah.
I was in quite the journey in my life. I had just had a brain injury, and then I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I was also traveling as a speaker. And people would come up to me and say, "You are so lucky. You're a speaker. You get to do what you love. You're so lucky." And I meant, it's not luck. I've been working really hard at staying alive and fighting my inner critics that told me to stop. And my husband said, "Why don't you write it down?" So I wrote down all these inner critic conversations I had when I was in my brain injury and with the breast cancer, telling me I wasn't good enough. "You suck. Stop. Die already." And I wrote it down for my children. And then my husband convinced me to publish it for everyone else.
Wow. So that whole thing about you're lucky. So what do you mean by that? If you're not lucky, how does all of this happen?
Divine intervention. And I have to tell you this story because you'll all understand. I have a brain injury. And in 2014, what happened was I was in a car accident. I was told I was fine. But 12 days later, I stopped being able to form sentences. Then I stopped being able to say words. Then I stopped walking. And for 2 years, I was trapped in my head, fully cognizant, but unable to communicate in any way. What we found out later is I have a traumatic brain injury. I'm missing 3 areas of my brain, and one of them was detached. So I'm missing my frontal lobe, over my left ear, the back of my head, and my 2 hemispheres disconnected. So my brain wasn't talking, but I could hear myself, and I could hear all my inner critics tell me how unworthy I was of life.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite the journey. And so when you get...
Why wouldn't that disconnect? I mean, come on. We got everything else disconnected. That negative part should have been thrown out the door, and you should have just had living in the world of positivity.
It got loud. Actually, it got louder. And so at the end of those 2 years, I got very depressed and suicidal. My blessing was I couldn't move to hurt myself. Oh, thank you, Helene. I couldn't hurt myself because I couldn't move. And I'm sitting in my living room, screaming in my head at God, why do you hate me so much? Kill me already. Because there's a lot of things that happened in my childhood. There's things that happened in my college years, and then brain injury, and then breast cancer. I truly thought maybe God had something out for me. He didn't like me anymore. And I heard from every cell around, every molecule, every cell in my body, you're not dead yet. Get up. And I did.
So those are kind of some marching orders. I think I would listen to that. How did that override that negative part? I mean, did the negative part kind of go, oh, like, did it take a step back or did it get louder? Like, this seems like a shouting match between the negative part and now God.
Yeah.
How did that go?
It just stopped. I did not hear those negative voices anymore. My husband said when he came home, I was on the computer and I kept saying, I need to speak. I need to speak. And he came up and he goes, how did you get here? How did you walk? I said, I have to. So when I heard you're not dead yet, get up, I also got a sub message. Speak your story, be the light. And so here I am.
Wow. You are here. You have this light. You've become a speaker. You have overcome so many things, and overcoming this part of the negativity, that's overcoming you, right? So what do you do with a story like this? What is in the book that makes it different? What is in the book that could help anyone that's listening today?
Well, what's amazing about it is, remember, I have a brain injury. So when I wrote it very simple. It is not a complex book. I wrote it as I was speaking to my children. So I'm not saying it's baby talk, but it's very easy to understand and walk through. The chapters are maybe 4 or 5 pages long. They're stories. And then I ask 5 questions. And basically what I'm doing is I tell a story for you to trigger something from your memory. When you're reading my story, I want you to do, oh, that reminds me of. And then I want you to answer the questions based off your story. The magic about this is we keep saying our inner critic is out to get us. When I blamed God, what he showed me was our inner critic is challenging us for the next level. It's proving to us what we've already accomplished and what we haven't, and what we need to do to the next level. My book helps you walk through all those inner critics that tell you you're not good enough, so that you can be the stubborn baby and say, no, I've already done this in a smaller form when I was 7, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really bite-sized chunks that makes things actually possible. Because I think sometimes the overwhelming portions of this, and I think part of the trick of that negative voice, is it pulls you down into such a level, and then you will have a spark of positivity, and your mind will say, I'm going to do, and then this. And it's almost like a self-sabotage, because the next piece, the negative voice comes in and says, how you doing on that list?
Yeah.
Right?
You're even slow. Why are you even trying? You know, that kind of stuff. That's why I wrote the book very short, very simple, because I remember when I was desperately trying to find myself while locked in my head, I couldn't even focus on words, but I remember looking at things I can't even remember. It's like it's got 20 things on the list. I can't even remember the first 2. We have to make it easier. So I did.
There you go. And when you break this down to make it easier, what has the response been from your fans, from people who've purchased the book, from people who maybe have heard you speak and then want to know more about this incredible story? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, overwhelmingly awesome reviews. And what's so beautiful about it is it's usually by the 4th chapter, people are like, I did it. I did the big goal that I always wanted. I haven't even finished your book. And I said, that's the magic of it. It's usually something very small from your past that's holding you back from the bigger things you want. My book is 13, it's got 12 chapters, but you don't really need to get through all 12 of them. And so the other thing I got was, your stories are fun and whimsical. And then not until you said, relate it to my own story, that I realized, oh my gosh, there's so much wisdom in my everyday experiences. I do have experiences I've learned from. I just pass them off as every day. Well, the magic about every day is every day you wake up is a chance. It's a gift. It's life. Live it, learn it, love it.
That's right, because you're not dead yet.
You're not dead
yet.
Get
up, girl.
Yes.
That's really, really powerful. And it seems like you've had this tug and go relationship with God. You've known he's been there, but maybe for a while the perspective has been, but in Michelle, or at least that was what those negative voices convinced you of.
Well, the negative
now, what is the relationship?
The negative voices made me forget. You see, when I was in college, I was captive raped for 9 months, over 9 months. So every time I was raped, I would scream, God, please help me. Please help me. God, help me. He never helped me. And one day, towards the end, I didn't say, stop him, God, help me. I said, what can I do? It's the first time I heard the voice that said, you're smarter than him. But when I had that brain injury and I was having all those negative voices, I forgot that I was given guidance. I wasn't forsaken, but I forgot. And it wasn't until I heard the voice again that I realized he hadn't left me when I was 19. He's the one who helped me get out of this. He helped me realize that I am smart, I am capable, I am worthy. And then I forgot. And that's why my book is so important, is it helps you remember the things that you forgot, lessons you should have learned to bring with you to adulthood that you let go because you thought, it's not that important. We're learning every day.
Wow. And so how do you encourage the learning every day? What do you do with that?
I'm a journal. I love journals. It's kind of how I wrote my first book, Eat, Drink, and Be Merry. It's all journals. And it's not just gratitude. I write the thoughts that go through my head during the day. And then I write, thank you for having this day. Thank you for, those kind of things. And then I do,
wow, the impact.
Yeah.
Say that again. I kind of cut off.
I said, and sometimes I don't write what I learned during the day. I'm just happy to be here. And then there's other times I've met someone that I watched someone do something. I learned gratitude today from seeing that one person, pick up 5 carts from the grocery, from the parking lot and put them all away. Remember to be appreciative of what you see around you too. They don't have to directly impact you. Be appreciative of what you see or hear.
That's so true. It's so true. Sometimes it just has to be something that we observe from afar that can still impact us. There is so many things. I see is your chemo buddy, and bless that I bet. Well, if I ever went through cancer, I would want you, Michelle, to be my chemo buddy too. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing to see other people experience many different things, and how they respond to it is the lessons that we can all learn, take in, or say, nope, not going to do that. That doesn't look very beneficial. And I think that's the power of connection. And last year, where so many of us were not able to connect, where we were used to the everyday connections, just having been, robbed of that for a little bit of time, I know now, everyone coming back together, there is so much more appreciation, and it's like, that will never happen again. There's no way, because of what that pulls us down. We need connection. Humanity needs to be connected together. And in that connection, it looks like, even through reading your book, even though you feel it's simple, it connects us to each other, because we can say, Michelle did that. I remember in my life something here happened. That's a connection. Wow. Wait a minute. I can learn from that. That is very, I want to say it's like a secret weapon, right? It's like this secret power, because sometimes we wait for the big thing, or we wait for this grand something. And what you're telling us is that it's the everyday, it's the appreciation, it's the gratitude, it's the connectability and observation. Would that be accurate?
Very accurate. And what people say is, when I went through my breast cancer, well, also my brain injury, how did you get through that so smoothly? I mean, how did you not get depressed? And it's because I've been watching people all my life. Even with my brain injury, I remember I remember seeing people with my breast cancer. I've watched, I was watching movie stars and, Melissa Etheridge go through breast cancer. So I was watching and learning. And, you do those scenarios. If I ever had this happen to me, how would I react? If this ever happened, how would I react? And when it started happening to me, I had already gone through the scenario of what I would do if someone told me I had breast cancer. So when the doctor said, "You have breast cancer, you have 3 months to live, what would you like to do?" And I said, "Remove my breast." And she said, "Don't you want to think about it?" I said, "I've been thinking about it since the first time I heard about breast cancer." "No, I don't want to think about it. Take them both. I don't want it to come back into the other breast." So they did. And the doctor was so shocked that I made my decision so quickly. Well, here's the thing. Just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean you can't contemplate what ifs. It's like a math problem. There's always if-then statements. If this happens, then what? What would you do? I didn't want to be blindsided by life. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm just a curious person. Be curious about the people around you, about the lives around you. Learn from their mistakes and their successes. You don't have to wait and walk blindly and wait for things to happen and then be surprised when, oh my goodness, now what will I do? Well, I've been watching people. Watch, learn. That's why stories like mine, or you hear on Beacons of Light, it's so important, because you learn from other people's experiences. That's why I love storytelling. That's why I love podcasts and sharing, because it's how we are as humans. God puts us on here to experience different life at different levels so that we can learn from each other and grow, be better people, not walk around and live in a box and never look out of it and be surprised about how we're going to move. Learn. Yes.
That's right. The actions that we can take are something that really pushes us forward into more ways. I like the challenge that you offered there, to think about things in your life, not to say it in a negative way, but you had a prompting, had a thought, had an idea, maybe had an experience with another family member about cancer. So thinking about that, if I ever had cancer, what would I do? And start thinking of a plan, start thinking of ideas. It doesn't mean that it's going to absolutely be that way, but it's the open-mindedness and thought, right?
Yes.
I remember as a kid thinking a lot about an interesting scenario for myself. One of the first books I ever read was Little House in the Big Woods. So I'm a Laurel Ingalls fanatic, junkie lady person. Like
Me
that
too.
whole thing of like Charles Ingalls, like everything about that whole idea of living off the land, of doing things, wasn't like just surviving. It was how they lived. It was how they looked at stuff. So I've always been fascinated and interested with that. So I would do what if questions. If this happened, how could I? And then I would put down different things and ideas. So it actually prepared me in strange ways for when I was homeless.
Exactly.
Where when we were without, when I left a case of domestic violence, I knew what to do to survive. And it was interesting to, like you're saying, pull these things, these experiences, these ideas as they come, because I needed it at that time. And of course, it wasn't the goal to remain homeless. Was
Yes.
not the goal. But because I had thought about things prior to, I knew what to do. And I knew that I didn't want to remain there because I had options. I had choices. I could feel myself sliding into depression.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, domestic abuse. That's a very depressive place to live. And the choices were pulling me towards that direction. I had to make a choice to say, do I want this? So I started to go in that direction. Didn't mean it was like, clip, all finished, easy peasy. No. But when my body was turned towards the light versus towards that darkness and pulling me that way, I'll just say the light part was a lot better. So in the survival portions of things, we could get through, but know that there was so much more beyond that. And that is what carries us through. So you knew, okay, I've already thought about this. The breasts gone. After that, what did you then dream about and think about how you could go through something like after that experience? What did you want to do after cancer? Had you already thought about that part?
All I knew was I took every day as it was. I took every day at a time because they told me I only had 2 months to live because of the type of cancer I had. It took them so long to find it that my days were counted. So I enjoyed every day. And then I started speaking and I started traveling, and people were like, "What are you doing? You've got cancer. Sit still, stay home." And I said, I don't think this was a curse. This was something to either ignite me to do faster what I was supposed to do, or I'm going to die doing what I love, speaking. Either way, I'm going to speak. So I kept going. I never looked at what am I going to do at the end of cancer because I'm still in the cancer journey. I'm not in remission. I've not been cleared. And if I waited to figure out what I'm going to do after cancer, I'd still be waiting. So I live every day almost like it's my last. I enjoy every day because I never know when it will be. And then I realized none of us know. I have an advantage.
Oh, you do have an advantage of that. And it's a powerful thing to know that you can live, you can progress, you can still make choices. These are measurements and time frames based on what the best science and guesses have. And it's like you're saying, okay, well, then I'm going to live every day as if it was my last. So let's just keep going, speaking, connecting.
What? They told me within 3 months. It's been 3 years.
So maybe like in dog years, right? It's like a little off. Right. So, okay, 3 months, 3 years. So every month was actually a year. Maybe it was actually 30 more years. Who knows, right? Maybe it's actually a decade for each month. Maybe it's half a decade for each month. Who knows?
Well,
God
and the
knows.
reason I shared that.
The action.
Well, the reason I share that is because people hear doctors tell them months or years, and they believe it. No, it's like you were saying earlier. They're averages. They're guesses. No one knows when we're dying except for one. Okay? So don't believe what you hear. Just live your best, do your best, heal, pray, do the meds that you need to take, whatever you need to do that you're called to do. But keep living. So, I mean, I had a girlfriend who was diagnosed 2 months prior to me with the exact same breast cancer. She stopped moving. She waited for death. She was so afraid that she would die in public. She didn't want to leave her house. She stopped living. And here I was starting a whole new life. And I wrote back to her and said, hey, how you doing? And I never got an answer. Then I got an answer from her sister and said she passed. She died before she died. My encouragement is be the best version of you every day. Live unapologetically and live full. Every day is a gift. Still breaks my heart to hear it.
So true. Those are those choices where fear can really pull us in. Or like you broke through that and just made a different choice and took action. And there are different results, right? And I think you said it key is that she died before she died. And I never want to have fear grab me like that again, ever. And so why not? What do you have to lose? If someone's told you that you will pass, isn't that kind of a given? That's how we get out of this life, is by passing away. So we already know we all have a death sentence at some time, right? We already know that. So why not live every single day as you can? And when you have the mistakes, get up, brush off, try again and again. I think when we inner focus so much, we miss the life around us.
Exactly.
So when you're going out to speak, do you think about yourself the whole time you're up there speaking? Why do you speak, Michelle? Why do you speak?
I speak, one, because I was told to. The other reason I speak is I truly believe I've experienced so much in life because people need to hear it. I'm brave enough to share the dark, the scary, and a lot of people don't. And so there are people who are hurting out in the world who think that they're alone in that pain. I share my story from stage because I need to reach one person in that audience. God has put one person in that audience that has to hear me. So I speak, and I speak with all my heart for that one.
So you're out serving for that one, wherever, however, whomever is in that room. You know one is there.
Mm-hmm.
There could be more.
Could be
but
more.
if you whittle down the numbers, you know at least there's one.
Mm-hmm.
What a blessing. So you're telling us to live for each other, live for someone else.
And
wow. Really powerful. Right. So it isn't, it doesn't take luck. It takes what?
Honestly, it takes faith in God and yourself. You have to have faith that there's something bigger out there than you, something else out there more than just your pain and your woes. But when that voice calls you, and sometimes it's very subtle, okay, not everyone hears a voice. I guess I'm stubborn. He had to hit me in the head with a brick. So we're supposed to have faith in ourselves. That's part of the journey I had problems with. When I was given this task to speak, there would be times where I went, why me? I don't want this. Take away the cancer. Take this away. I don't want this. Then I had to realize this is my path. I was given this voice. This is my superpower. I must do this for the one in every audience that's listening for me, because God's using me to give them a message. So be the best version of you.
It's so true.
Oh, wait, here's the other thing.
That's right. Be the best.
Forgive yourself for anything you think you've done wrong. Every day.
That's right. That's right. Every day, forgive. Every day. Because you have that gift. You only have so many numbered days. So why not?
Love.
Right? Because it's not luck. It's action. It's choices. It's following what has been given. And it's for the one. It's for the one.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Michelle. This has been a powerful evening. And I know she's got to go. She's got another podcast tonight. It's her own. Is that right, Michelle? It's your own
It's
meeting
actually
with so many people.
Internet TV show out of the Philippines called Mental Shift. It starts at 7:30 tonight, Mountain Time.
So we've got to let her go because she's got to go to her TV, her TV action and station and everything that she's got to share there. But I am so grateful for you, Michelle. And I hope that this really gives support to the book, to your message, and that many people will say, I want that. I want her to come and speak because I know I have one within the audience that she can reach.
Oh.
Thank you so much, Michelle. We've got just the last few seconds here. What would be your ending message to the world?
Life is not easy. It's not rainbows and butterflies in a field of daisies. Life is challenging, but those challenges show us who the real you is. The beauty is in the possibilities of what lies underneath.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
be that beacon of light out there. Shine that positivity. Reach out with hope and see where you can touch others. We'll see y'all. Thanks, everybody.